Alright, my fellow creatures of the night, you know what time it is. It is now Saturday, or technically speaking Sunday, since it is now 5:30 a.m. 5:53 a.m. So, it is time for your favorite podcast and mine, Coffee with Contin. So, been thinking about what I'm going to do with this week's episode. Since this is now, I do believe, episode 7. I'm checking as we speak. Oh no, I'm sorry, not episode 7. That was several episodes ago. This is episode 11. And not really much is going on this week. As I stated in the last episode, the wife got to keep her job. She has been ecstatic about it ever since. Besides that, she has got her plane ticket booked to go out and visit her sister in North Carolina. The sister, unfortunately, is not doing well, and this is likely the last time that she will be able to see her due to her health problems. She is very likely in the next few months not even going to remember who she is. Now, I don't know what health problems she is currently suffering from, but that is not on me to really go over either way. However, the wife is happy that she's going to be able to get to see her. So, I figured that since I'm not really sure what I'm going to go over this episode, other than I'm going to go ahead and go a little bit over the schedule that I have planned for next month then. I have my vacation time, my first actual vacation from work, where I'm just taking time off and I'm going to be doing whatever the fuck I want. Your boy's been in the workforce now for going on 24 years, and this will be my first official vacation where I'm not moving, helping someone else move, or what have you. It's been interesting. Though, speaking of work, I do have to thank my gorgeous wife if she's discovered this series, because I have not actually shown her any of the links as of yet. Then, darling, I love you. You are an amazing woman. And though I've already said it about 10 or 15 times, if not a lot more than that, because I don't really know how many times I say things from time to time, I do want to thank you again for reigniting that fire that I have, that passion for helping others, and for really getting a good grip on what it is that we do for work and being able to be a hero for somebody else in need. As my pseudo-supervisor pointed out earlier, we have no real honest way of comparing our pain and our suffering to those that we help out with our industry. I've alluded to it numerous times in the past. I work for a healthcare industry, a very big company across the nation. I will not identify the company as I am still a current employee, and I do not prefer to identify myself to the company because, let's face it, while I am a very dedicated employee, I am a very different individual outside of work, and I do not want to tax myself by trying to be a perfect representative of the company. I will simply say that we work with oxygen patients and people who need other durable medical equipment. That little aside, for lack of a better way to put that, my supervisor, I will refer to her as Ninja, pointed out that there is no real fair way to compare the pain and suffering that we're going through to our patients, because for the most part, me and my fellow employees have our health. We may not be in the same physical peak condition we were 10, 15, 20 years ago, possibly 25, 30 or more for some of my coworkers. Some of the ladies that I work with are kind of up there in years, although I find it ironic that for a time I was desperately trying to find another job. I was burnt out, and I was sick and tired of feeling like a tool for these patients because I could not wrap my head around exactly the importance of what it is I was doing, or if I could, I just couldn't bring myself to care enough to recognize that. But I do find it rather ironic because, as I've pointed out on numerous occasions in the past, I found it funny that I work primarily with a large group of women. About 95% of them are actually not, well, I will say this, they're not unattractive. And I've told my wife this, which she definitely agrees. However, there is a very deep understanding that I have no interest whatsoever in any of my female coworkers. So it is fair enough to make that joke, because as I've stated in the past, I was in a situation where I was a man surrounded by a lot of attractive women, and it was funny because the only thing that I wanted to do was get out of the situation and find a different job. Luckily, I am no longer like that. So, as I stated, the wife has reignited the passion I have for what it is that I do to help others, because I know that whether I'm dealing with pain or anguish or what have you on my end of things, the situations that these people are in, COPD, chronic bronchitis, emphysema, COPD, for those who don't know, medical terminology, is chronic obstructive pulmonary disorder. Effectively, it's a breathing disorder that prevents them from really drawing breath the way they should. And that whole list is miles long, ranging from cholera all the way down to some of the more fucked up shit that you can think of. And it really hit a nerve when she said that to me recently, because I realized I was taking things to heart that I had no reason to be taking to heart. And I was taking things that were being said and done, as unintentional as they were, far too much to heart. And with my company that I work with, well, in the healthcare industry in general, you really can't do that, because, as I've pointed out, you do that and you're not going to last long with the company or in the field of work to begin with. Now, it was stated, going back to what Ninja was saying, that these people, no matter what we're going through, are always in a worse situation. Some of them can't walk. Some of them can't go to the restroom on their own. Some of them can't do anything by themselves. And despite all of that, the worst one has got to be the patients who need the oxygen, because that means that they can't even breathe properly on their own. And I feel like a horrible individual, because I was sitting there taking these things to heart and getting upset and frustrated and just showing no emotion whatsoever for these people and the plight that they have. because of how I was feeling. And I feel like a horrible individual over that. But thanks to the wife and thanks to Ninja, I have refound the driving passion that I had when I first started with this company going on 5 years ago now. And it is a complete transformation. The anger that I have had for the last several years towards these people is completely gone. I feel like there's been a weight just pulled off of my shoulders. And I am in a remarkably better position than I have ever been with any other company I've worked for in the past. I've worked for companies like Safelite Autoglass. I've worked for Cox Communications, for our neighbors up north, the Poke Couple, and other listeners from other countries. Cox Communications is a big internet service provider here. They do home security systems, internet, phone, and television. So I'm sure that you guys can think of some of the local companies for you that are like that do those kind of things. I've worked for Cox Communications. I've worked for Safelite Autoglass. I worked for OnTrack, which was a Western United States version of UPS, or basically like a delivery service that goes across the country. And I've worked for International Cruise and Excursions, basically a hawking, quote-unquote, 5-star resorts and double diamond resorts and crap like that for trips to Mexico. And of all of them, the only two that stick out were Safelite Autoglass, because that's where I met my wife, and subsequently my son Blue. That is my number one job that I have ever worked for. The other was Cox Communications, because I'm going to be 100% honest. When it comes to the job that I'm doing now, this is 100% customer driven for me again. And this is for helping the patients that I deal with on a regular basis. For when I worked at Cox, it was nothing at all about the individuals that I was helping. It was completely about the money for me. Mind you, this was about 15 years ago. No, actually less than 10. Now that I really think about it, because I moved to the state of Arizona where I was working for Cox. My first day in the state was the first day of 2013, which is effectively now 10 years, a month, and some change away. Since then, as of about a year and a half ago, I moved from the state of Arizona, and I'm now living in the state of Mississippi. For anyone close by in the United States, if you've got the chance, come out and visit. It's a beautiful place. The people are as friendly as you have ever imagined for a United States citizen. While it might be a stereotype, Jen and Mark, I'm sure that when I say that natives and locals here in Mississippi are like you guys up north, very friendly, very unassuming, I'm sure you'll know exactly what I mean. Even though I'm sure you guys can probably name multiple people you've met in the last year alone who were definitely not of that caliber. Oh, sorry, I knocked my phone a bit. Anyway, so that's the thing now, is that thanks to the wife and to Ninja, I have a completely new outlook on work, and things are a lot better than they have been in years for me. Not to mention, I am on track, for lack of a better way to put that, because I have hated that pun ever since I worked for the company, especially when I knew people were doing it for a reason, or doing it specifically to annoy me. That is also past. But as I was saying, I am on track for a role in leadership with the company I'm at, right alongside Ninja, who I've worked with the entire time I've worked for this company, which is awesome because it'll allow me to focus more on helping the patients that I deal with, because I won't be taking as many calls, even though I now don't have a problem with that. It'll help me with making sure that these people are getting the care that they need from us, and making sure that I'm helping to train new batches of employees that are coming in, making sure that they're doing things the right way, because ultimately I want to not only help get these people the help that they need, I want to be the one that is inspiring my colleagues to do the best possible job they have, to make these patients feel like they're the only one that matters to the individual they have on the other end of this phone, because they're very likely going to be scared. They're going to be terrified. This is going to be all new equipment to them, and I want them to feel confident that when one of the agents I work with picks up that phone and greets them, that they have somebody confident that knows exactly what they're doing, even if the agent is new and doesn't fully understand what they're doing yet. I want them to have that same confidence that I have now to help these people, let them know that everything is going to be okay, and that patient be able to believe that in the depths of their heart. As you can tell, I'm a little bit more animated than usual, because this is something I'm very driven about, very passionate about doing. Work-related things aside, I did mention I was going to go a little bit over what I have planned for next month. Jen from the Poke Couple asked me to kind of go over who the Draco family is. Now, to start off with, I will be introducing you guys to some of the other members of the Draco family. I'm going to be introducing you, very likely at some point in the near future, to my sister Elkara, to my daughter Cece, and possibly to my daughter Gaiasis. And I say these with air quotes, obviously, because I'm not blood related to any of the three of them, or my brother Michael, or Mihail, however the hell he says it, I don't know. It's basically the name Michael, but without the C. So I'm going to have to figure out a schedule on that with them. So the five of them, see if all five of them are even interested. I know Elkara and Cece, I can very easily get to help to do that with me. I'm going to eventually be starting up a side podcast of sorts with my coworker. I'm going to call her Sly. She has been watching the videos right alongside you guys and is very interested in the prospect of it. So there's that. I'm sure that you guys have probably seen my daughter Cece. It's Slayer Cece she goes by. She used to actually stream games that she played with others. So definitely feel free to go and check those out. Mark, I think you would actually like some of that. She's done a lot of first-person shooter style games. In addition, I'm going to also be going over the story of who the Draco family is. Base knowledge for you guys to understand. This started out as a role-playing group, or RP group, for those who actually know what it is, about 16 years ago. God, I feel old when I think about that. Some of the people I have actually watched grow up, and I have been a father figure to a lot of these people who otherwise did not exactly have a happy home life. I'm going to see if I can't get my son, Arcanum, to to join me on one of these at some point, who ironically happens to be a marine biologist in real life, which completely badass, dude, if you're listening to this. That aside, the one thing that you have all been hearing about and you're all probably very excited for, because the trash talk has been going non-stop anytime the subject is brought up, is the UPC UTC, or in English, the Ultimate Pocket Couple Ultra Trivia Quiz, or Ultimate Ultra Trivia Challenge. There we go. The Ultimate Pocket Couple Ultra Trivia Challenge. Probably should have thought of a softer, easier to spit out name, but that's where we're at. Jen and I have been off and on talking about when we're going to be able to do that. Obviously, you guys have probably noticed they aren't doing a lot of streaming this week. That was brought up that, obviously, if I remember correctly, she did point out that they had some stuff going on. And definitely, I know I speak for the rest of us when I say that we're looking forward to the next time you guys go live. In addition, she and I, like I mentioned, have been off and on talking a little bit about when we're going to do this. We know it's going to be next month. Obviously, it's going to be sometime during my scheduled vacation. The exact date, Jen will be able to let you guys know, or Mark, whoever is the one streaming after it's been decided, or they may even make a community post. So, that one is going to be fun. I haven't finished the list of questions. I'm sitting right about 30 at the moment. I'm probably going to do more. But that just depends on whether or not I can think of any other questions to use to fill up and round out to the 30 that aren't going to be super cheesy or just completely asinine things. Although a couple of just inane asinine questions probably aren't going to hurt, because if this is supposed to be a challenge to test your knowledge of the franchise, what better way than some random stat or random bit of fanatic knowledge wouldn't hurt with really seeing what you guys know. So, that is just about all that I have to go over this week. There's very likely going to be a bonus video at some point in the next couple of days. I'm going to be breaking down the story of the Draco family as Jen had requested. That's probably going to be its own little mini-series, in addition to doing Coffee with Contin. So that is where we're at. We've got the trivia contest between Jen and Mark. We've got the members of the Draco family that are still around that I'm going to be introducing you guys to. And then there's the History of Draco side series that I'm going to be starting up soon, ranging from all the generations back to the first of the family, who is the first mortal member of the family, I should say, Count Gerverin Draco, ranging all the way down to Contin's son, Sulinar, Sulinar. It's been a while since I thought about these names, apologies. Who is the youngest current member of the Draco family. And maybe some side characters, but so that is at bare minimum going to be at least a 15-part series. It'll probably be run longer than that because, as I stated earlier, I get very passionate and animated when I'm talking about things that I love. So those are probably going to be pretty hefty videos. That aside, that's all I've got for you guys this week. So I'm going to end it this week by asking you and reminding you that June 6th is coming up, Contin's birthday, And if you guys want a face reveal from me, we got to get me up to 100 subscribers for now. And we're still about 80 away. So, you guys start telling your friends, let them know. Contin wants to see you. He wants to get to know you. And with that, I'm going to go ahead and sign off for the night. I got to get to sleep. So, once again, this is Coffee with Contin. Have an awesome night.